Good afternoon, everybody. I hope that you are all doing really well. It is Thursday, October 6th today, and we are going to be talking all about the science behind sugar addiction and all of the things that can go wrong when we are stuck on sugar. So I see some nodding heads out there in Zoom land. So what do you guys think about sugar? Where do you struggle? Is it in actual sugars or is it in hidden sugars? And how do you know that you might have a sugar addiction, right? So how do you know if you have one? So we're going to dive in today, and then we're also going to cover some Amare products that can help with our sugar cravings and hopefully help us to all get off of all of the sugar, because we are consuming more sugar now than we have ever in human history. So super excited to see some new faces out there today. So drop it in the chat. Where are you tuning in from? And feel free throughout the entire call today to ask any questions that you have. Okay, so let's just start with the basics. Is sugar addictive? The answer is yes. Sugar is absolutely addictive. It is as addictive as drugs and alcohol, and it is almost impossible to avoid sugar because it is added to so many foods. And just even thinking about sugar can trigger your cravings. And so sugar, it tastes delicious. It outright triggers a dopamine release, which, if you know anything about addiction, dopamine is actually what we are addicted to. It is called the dopamine reward pathway. And so when you have more dopamine in the brain that is controlled by a food that you eat or drugs or alcohol, this is what leads to addictive behaviors. And crazy to think that 80% of all the food items that are in the grocery store that are packaged have sugar or added sugar to them. And so that is no bueno. And so there are beverages that have 40, 50 grams of added sugar. The average large Starbucks coffee can have 47 grams of added sugar to it. So sugar is simply everywhere. And sugar addiction can often give a chain reaction of cravings to have anything that has a high concentration of sugar. And how does this cycle happen? Well, what happens is when you are either not feeling great or you're feeling run down, all of the things, this can cause you to crave a quick source of energy, a carb-rich meal or a really sugary drink in a lot of cases. Then what happens is that high sugar food gets into your brain and releases all of your endorphins as well as the dopamine, which reacts with other components, other molecules in your body that helps to really quickly up your energy. And then our brain really quickly realizes that, oh, when I consume these high sugar foods, they become very, very good at saying, like, oh, that's where I get energy. That's where I get motivation. That's where I am no longer irritable, is when I eat this food. And over time, that fully leads to addiction. Here's the other thing. It's not just sugar that's a problem. It's not just sugar that is a problem. It is added sugars, especially fructose. So we are getting emerging evidence that fructose drives the production of uric acid, and that uric acid is really and truly what causes cardiovascular disease, which is the #1 killer in globally. I mean, everybody's dying of cardiovascular disease because it's so prevalent everywhere. Okay, so added sugars include things like corn syrup, sucrose, dextrose, maltose, brown sugar. We get we get so much sugar from fruit drinks, alcoholic drinks, energy drinks, teas, snacks, cookies, brownies, salad dressing, ketchup, bread, ice cream, and increasingly people get a ton of sugar in coffees. Sugar is present in at least 95% of all cereals, all beverages. You know, it's crazy. It's crazy. And by reducing your sugar intake as little as 5% or less, as little as 5% or less, has been shown to reduce the risk of heart disease, type 2 diabetes, weight gain, and obesity. Here's another thing. Sugar addiction is one thing, but what happens is that it can cause concomitant disorders where people start to have physical and emotional instability because of the sugar cravings. We also know that sugar addiction is very highly associated with binge eating, which can also drive emotional imbalances. Sugar addiction and alcoholism go hand in hand because most of the beverages that you mix alcohol with are based on sugar because you're trying to get rid of the flavor of the alcohol. And so we need to be sure that even as we're drinking, that we are cautious not to over consume sugar. All right. So sugar addiction is also associated with emotional eating. And so people will get in and just eat. We also know that people who are addicted to sugar also tend to have lots of other addictions. So compulsive gambling, addiction to video games, etc. Especially when you have uncontrolled eating with like prolonged exposure to these other behaviors. So if you are gambling and drinking an alcoholic beverage and eating sugar, all of those addictions just go hand in hand. Sugar is really highly associated with anxiety, and anxiety causes irregularities in appetite. So it just goes in one big round circle where sugar causes anxiety, the sugar cravings, the sugar withdrawals cause anxiety. And then we know that you will also have anxiety getting worsened by the sugar. And so it all just is this vicious cycle. And some people develop eating disorders like anorexia, maybe binge eating because of the anxiety. And so again, these sugary based meals can really lead to not only worsening anxiety, but also, you know, excessive weight gain as the sugar levels go up and down. And it can also cause depression and fatigue. And so when people quit drinking sugar, there is actual physiological detox symptoms that happens. And the reason for this is because insulin levels begin to decrease. So our insulin levels start to fall, which causes the body to access stored fats that it burns for energy. And then after a few days, our lipids start to fall. And then what happens is if we don't continue to eat the sugars, once we begin to go from being able to burn sugar into fat, this is how our palate changes to be less satisfied with sugar. And so this detox symptoms can be cravings, lethargy, lack of energy, anxiety, headaches, muscle pains, insomnia, chills, even gas and bloating can happen. And so cravings happen when people go cold turkey. And this is common with all addictive substances, not just sugar. This is the first sign that the body is dependent on it, because when you remove it from the diet, the body starts asking for it to come back immediately. And this is a major imbalance in the system. And these cravings, once you get past them and you push through them, that is how we transform our palate. The lethargy comes in later. So cravings are first, and then you may have a little bit of sadness. You may feel depressed. You may have some anhedonia where you just don't want to get out of bed or anything. And as little as 24 hours after stopping using sugar, you can feel this like, just this sad, just this lethargy that you just don't know what to do with. And so I mentioned anxiety extensively. Anxiety is, can be everything from, just feeling stressed out, but it also can lead to like even teeth chattering, to like tremors, people who shake their heads because they're just so stressed out because they're craving an addictive substance. And headaches, I find that caffeine withdrawal headaches are worse than sugar withdrawal headaches, but it all depends on the level of the addiction, right? It all depends on the level of the addiction and which one is worse for you. Sugar withdrawal can also be very dangerous in people who have diabetes, because if you have a drastic reduction in your blood sugar, this can cause you to have too low a blood sugar. It can also cause something called rebound hyperglycemia, which jacks up your blood sugar really fast, and that is bad. And so we need to ensure that we're doing things in our daily lives that help us to stabilize all of the blood sugar. Here's another thing. Hormones also change. And so in a couple of weeks, we're going to be turning our attention to how do we balance hormones after menopause. And one of the ways that we can do that is by working on our sugar cravings. And so, addiction to sugar is more mental than physical, but we know that it will really dramatically change depending on what we eat. And so we know that sugar is addictive. We pretty much know that it's a drug in a sense, and we have to work on we have to regularly work on our addiction to sugar because it is in so many things. So how can we break our addiction to sugar? Well, there's a lot of different ways to do it. A lot of people really just go cold turkey. It's hard. But if you just want to go headlong into it and say, I'm completely done, fine, right? You can do that. Or a lot of people do a more gradual elimination. And so the more gradual elimination will ensure that you are not having such profound withdrawals to where you might go from, 2 sodas a day down to 1, and then go down to half, or whatever floats your boat. And then the complete elimination is just where you're done. It's really, it's really hard. And I think it's more important to focus on the quality and where you're getting your sugar from, instead of just like saying, I'm never going to eat sucrose again, because a ton of people do keto diets, but we really don't know much about the safety and efficacy of these keto diets long term. We know that we have some data for the short term, but we don't really know what it does long term. And we see people that are on these keto diets really, really long term. They try to go back to eating any kind of sugar, and it becomes impossible. They can't do it. Their blood sugar just goes all haywire. And so we have to be able to moderate our sugar intake. And so there's a lot of different ways that we can work on breaking our sugar addiction. Okay. First and foremost is get some exercise. And so when you exercise, it releases chemicals called endorphins. And these are the feel-good hormones in our brain. They are instrumental in switching off cravings. And so exercise, I think we think of as like, I've got to get my exercise and it be like this long ordeal, but that is not the case. That is not the case. So these exercises release chemicals called endorphins. And when we do exercises such as indoor workouts like push-up, squats, even just standing up and even just sitting on the bouncy ball at work instead of sitting in a chair, all of this movement, our bodies are designed, they are built to be in perpetual movement. It is not, we are not meant to sit. We're really not meant to sit. And a lot of people say sitting is the new smoking. So the more that you can move your body, the better off that you will be. So we're going to do any kind of exercise, all 6 forms of exercise count, all of the things, you know. Nothing breaks a sugar addiction like eating healthier foods, right? So eating sugar-free snacks, getting plenty of fruits and vegetables, all of the things. And so healthier foods are going to help you to break the sugar addiction. Another thing that actually has some really good data behind it that I was kind of surprised about is taking a hot bath can really help when you are experiencing sugar withdrawal symptoms. And so other things that we need to keep in mind is, you know, we need to know the difference between cravings and hunger. So I'm a huge fan of the work of Janine Roth. And Janine wrote a book called Women, Food, and God. And it's all about how our relationship to ourself is right there on the plate in front of us. How much you care about yourself is right there on your plate. The way that you are willing to feed yourself and the way that you are willing to consume food is very important for your overall health and well-being. And so what she teaches in her work is, how do you know if you're actually hungry, right? How do you know that you are actually hungry? And so one of the things that we have to get in touch with is, who are we hungry? Who is hungry? Like, how hungry am I on a scale of 1 to 10? And so be sure that you are taking inventory of, is this a craving or am I actually hungry? And remember, a lot of the times when we think we're hungry, one of the things that we actually, what we actually are is dehydrated. And so simply drinking a big glass of water when you're like having some cravings can really put things at bay, because it helps to curb all of the cravings. And so be sure that you can find the difference between cravings and hunger. Another thing is to get more sleep. Poor sleep really leads to intense sugar cravings. And so I wanted to share with you the first supplement from Amare that I will mention is called Sleep Plus. I like Sleep Plus because it's very different than what you can get at the grocery store. It is not a melatonin-based supplement. What it actually has in it is a non-GMO corn grass that encourages the natural production of melatonin instead of supplementing with straight melatonin, because the melatonin supplement industry has gone cray-cray in the past few years. I mean, we used to see doses of melatonin of like, you know, a milligram, 2 milligrams. You can get a 50 milligram melatonin supplement these days. And so this non-GMO corn grass encourages that natural production of melatonin. And the corn grass has been shown in clinical studies to help fall asleep faster, stay asleep longer, spend more time in REM sleep when the brain is being rejuvenated, and in deep sleep when the body is being rejuvenated. And so Sleep Plus can help with our sleep quality. It helps with sleep efficiency. It helps people to get faster to sleep and wake up fewer times. And it relieves occasional sleeplessness, improves, decreases the number of nighttime awakenings and sleepless nights. nights, and it also doesn't have that hangover effect that so many melatonin supplements do. And so it also helps to calm the nervous system. It also has 5-HTP, which is a precursor for serotonin. And so you have ingredients that help to drive the production of melatonin as well as serotonin while you sleep, because serotonin is also really important for sleep. So yes, I love the Sleep Plus. I take 4 of these each night to fall asleep and stay asleep, all the things. And you can start with 2 or you can start with 4. I find 4 is my sweet spot. Other people find that 2 does the trick. So that is Sleep Plus, and that is one way that we can help to break sugar addictions, is to get a really good night's sleep, 7 to 9 hours per night. Because if you are not able to get that sleep, it can lead to intense cravings for sweets. And so the next thing that we can do is add protein to our daily routines, especially protein in the mornings. If you are somebody who is eating a really carb heavy breakfast, that is going to set yourself up for blood sugar ups and downs, peaks and valleys that last all day long. So adding a protein can help to, it actually reduces the activity of areas of your brain where you are craving things. Okay, so where you're craving things is right there in that dopamine reward center in your brain. And so I love Amare's GBX Protein. GBX Protein has a complete lineup of all of your amino acids. It's totally vegan, non-GMO, no preservatives, no artificial colors, no flavors, no sweeteners. And each of the doses that you get provides 17 grams of plant-based protein. This is all vegan. It not only is going to provide protein, but it has ingredients that optimize our metabolism, helps with our weight loss, and it fuels a really, really healthy workout routine, lifestyle, etc. Because protein helps to level out our blood sugar peaks and valleys when we eat. It also contains ingredients that nourish the microbiome, as all of Amare's products do. They are very good at feeding our microbiome, because we have in here, we have different metabolism boosting protein blends that also feed our microbiome. Okay, so we have things like chickpea protein, pea protein, brown rice protein, flax seeds, which are such a good source of omega-3 fatty acids. And as I mentioned, it contains the complete lineup of amino acids. And so the cool thing about the protein powder is it contains something called the artesia chickpea protein. And these are really premium proteins. And the GBX protein data sheet is honestly one of my favorites in the whole company, because it shows that the chickpea protein is smaller in its particle size, meaning that it feels better in the mouth. It also serves as a prebiotic. This is one of the ingredients that helps to nourish our microbiome. We also know that the chickpea protein is very good in like our sensory attributes, where there's that neutral flavor profile, that pleasing mouthfeel, really smooth texture, doesn't have a strong aroma. We also know that it's great in its functional attributes as well, because the functional attributes that it have is like, it's really got great nutritional value, great food safety, great sustainability, it's non-GMO, and it has a low environmental impact. And so I love the chickpea protein that's in there, because it is so easy on the palate, and it also just does not have a really strong flavor. And As I mentioned, there are all of your non-essential amino acids as well as the essential amino acids in the protein powder. There's also brown rice powder, which can help with our liver function, our cardiovascular health, cholesterol health. It has a really low glycemic index, and it really helps you to feel fuller longer. Then there's the pea protein. This is where we really get the support for our muscle mass, as well as helping with weight loss. It has a really high bioavailability. And then the flax seeds has the omega-3 fatty acids, as well as having antioxidant properties, really good fat in there, really good fiber. And this is yet another ingredient that acts as a prebiotic to help nourish our microbiome. And so all you do, put 2 scoops in a day. When you are a member of my Amare team, you have access to a website called Learn Amare. And over there on that website, there are some shareable graphics that you can use to make your own smoothies. And it goes through and really uses all 3 of the protein powders. My personal favorite protein is the salted caramel because it smells so amazing. Smells so good. But there's also vanilla, there's also chocolate. And the cool thing about having the protein powder is that now you can blend up foods that fight sugar cravings. And so putting like fruit and your protein powder together in like a mango smoothie with the salted caramel is one of my favorites. I love doing dark berries with a chocolate protein. I love peaches and vanilla. And so you can add in tons of fruits, of berries. The chocolate is going to have that really good dark chocolate, which is going to help with sugar cravings as well as having some anti-inflammatory effects. You can throw some chia seeds into your smoothies. You can add in medium chain triglyceride oil that is going to help to slow down the absorption of the sugars, etc. Some people put yogurt, especially like Greek yogurt or plant-based yogurt, into their smoothies, which is going to be really high in protein, really good high calcium in there as well. And you can find yogurts these days that don't have sugars. You have to be very cautious because some yogurts contain, oh my gosh, how many grams of sugar? Patricia, I was just going to say that same thing about the cinnamon. Cinnamon is also a spice that has been shown to help curb sugar cravings. Dates you can throw in to your smoothie to add some natural sweetness, but you're also getting fiber, potassium, iron, all kinds of beneficial ingredients in there. I sneak all kinds of vegetables into smoothies because you can't taste them. So you could add things like riced cauliflower or cooked sweet potatoes is a great option. And we also know that when we're making smoothies, you could put things like prunes in there that's going to help with the digestion, et cetera, et cetera. So you can throw tons and tons of different ingredients into your smoothie with your GBX protein powder that's going to help to break all of those sugar cravings, et cetera. So the next thing that we need to do is to create structure in our day. How many of you eat all day, every day? It's one of the most damning things that we can do for our bodies because our body is not built to eat all day, every day. Our body is built to eat sometimes, and we really are not built to eat late at night. That is not the way that our body is designed to work. And so create some structure in your day. Don't eat all day, every single day, and be sure that you are working on what you consume each and every day so that you can, and not just what, but when. When is also very, very important if you're trying to break a sugar craving. So create that structure. Also create structure on your plate. Start with your non-starchy vegetables, your healthy fats, your fiber-rich foods, your proteins, etc. That way you don't end up just aimlessly reaching for something that is sugary straight away. And just be cautious about what you're actually putting on your plate, because it can quickly add up that you're getting sugar from all of these various sources that you don't even know. You don't even recognize why you are having all of those. You don't really realize like how many grams of sugar can come from just sauces and condiments on your plate. So create that structure in when you're eating, as well as the structure on your plate. Portion control is really good as well. If you're going to buy a high sugar food, maybe just buy one instead of a whole box. And so, having portion control is also really important. Be a stickler for reading food labels, because there are so many foods out there that contain sugar that aren't even sweet. Things like ketchup and mustard, salsa, marinara sauce. Sometimes it's even in like rice. Added sugars will be added to like sushi rice. People add it to polenta. People add it to grits, because here's what they're after. When we eat, there's something called a bliss point. And I talk with Dr. Joan Ifland about it on my podcast. You can go check it out. And so this bliss point is where we have this perfect blend of sugar, fat, and salt, and it becomes so hyper palatable to us that it is just, we just are addicted to it. We love getting food in that bliss point. Another thing to do is, I've already mentioned how important water is when you are feeling like you might have a food craving. You may simply be dehydrated, right? So you can drink water. And I also love to add GBX SuperFood to the water, because the superfood is going to give you a ton of great vegetables. We've already talked about how important it is to have those vegetables. You're also going to get prebiotic fibers that's going to nourish the microbiome. And there's a really cool ingredient in here called enzyme treated Japanese asparagus. And so, yes, there are a lot of superfood supplements on the market that contain spirulina and beets and carrots and, broccoli and kale and strawberries and pomegranate. Pomegranate, by the way, is one of the best foods for a bacteria in your gut called Akkermansia muciniphila. And Akkermansia is considered to be the bacteria of skinny people. The more Akkermansia that you have, the skinnier that you tend to be. So we can feed all of that. So a lot of different supplements out there have those collections of, these antioxidant foods. All right. But this enzyme treated Japanese asparagus also helps to support our mood and cognitive function. It helps to protect our neurons, and it helps us to produce something called heat shock proteins. And heat shock proteins are really important in helping us to manage our stress levels. So superfoods, it doesn't look great, but it does taste good. So don't worry about it. It also smells really bad until you put it in water. And then as soon as you put it in water, all of a sudden it smells good. I mean, guys, I'm not going to lie to you. I will always tell you the truth about my product experiences, because you know what? That's why you trust me. It's because I shoot you straight. And so this can also help with stress levels, right? Because cortisol drives sugar cravings. And so you think about drinking happy juice, which has the mentobiotics in there that helps with cortisol. You also can help with your cortisol with the superfoods, because you are adding in ingredients that help you to produce more heat shock protein. Now that right there is different than what you're getting at your grocery store. You also have the gut integrity blend, which has apple fiber, chia seeds, and flax seeds, which are going to help to bulk up the stool, helping you to eliminate more effectively. Good source of omega-3 fatty acids, fiber, antioxidants, and flax seeds also contains lots of omega-3s and lots of fiber, but these also contain something called lignans, and lignans are or ligands, as some people say, ligands. And so these lignans are polyphenols that are found in plants, and it comes from the Latin word, which means wood. And all of these are really important in the production of our hormones, and they actively prevent they're an active defense in seeds and plants. And so all of these lignans are really, really good for providing us with these polyphenols that are found in plants. And so again, really different than what you are getting at the grocery store for sure. So we can drink more water by adding in some superfoods. There is 2 scoops is 1 dose. Some people add this into their happy juice. You can do that too. It gives it just a little bit more of an apple kind of flavor. And listen, if you're here today and you're not currently a member of Amare, I went ahead and made a cart of exactly what I'm talking about today. And if you are a member already, if you're already a brand partner or a customer, maybe you want to go in and duplicate this cart and share what you learned today with a few friends. And so there is an example cart that if I invited you here today, click that cart, go check out. And if someone else invited you here today, you go in and ask them for their link. And now, before I let you go, there's one other big category that is so important in helping us to curb our sugar cravings, and that is fiber. Fiber is a very important part of a healthy diet. Fiber, 90+% of people in the United States do not get enough fiber, and it really is important in helping to control blood sugars, protecting our hearts. It helps with our digestive health. Fiber acts like a scrub brush, going in and cleaning the digestive tract, and helps to clean out bad bacteria and improve our overall gut health. And fiber outright helps to reduce the risk of colon cancer as well. So we really need to be focused on getting fiber. Some fiber can't be digested, and that means that you are going to have that fiber in your stomach, which is going to help you to feel fuller longer. And so fiber is so important. We got to get soluble fiber, which dissolves in water and forms this gel-like substance, which helps to slow down our digestion, which helps us to manage our blood sugar spikes. And then insoluble fiber doesn't dissolve in water and typically remains whole as it passes through your stomach. And this is where we get support for insulin sensitivity that can help keep our bowels healthy, etc. So we can get soluble fiber from something like our superfoods, because we have apples in here, which gives soluble fiber. So you're getting 5 grams of fiber from the superfood supplement, plus 3 grams of fiber from the seed fiber. That's 8 grams of fiber in just this 2 doses. And you also can add all of this together. You can do this, the superfood, just in water. Some people put it in a little bit of apple juice as well. The seed fiber, just put it in anything. It doesn't have any flavor. The ingredients that are in here are all seeds. I mean, it's called seed fiber for a reason. And when you think about the fiber that's in here, we have sunflower seeds, cucumber seeds, cranberry seeds, black cumin seeds, blackberry seeds. There's tons, grape seeds. And then what really makes it different than what you can get at your grocery store is called AHCC, and that is a cultured mushroom extract that is very effective for immune support, rich in alpha glucans, supports our microRNA signaling between the microbiome and the central nervous system, and it helps us to manage feelings of stress, tension, and anxiety. And so the fiber helps to support our different brain connectivities. And so we have our thinking brain, our sensing brain, and our feeling brain in our heart. And so all of those systems need to talk to one another. And the seed fiber helps with that microRNA signaling that is going to modulate this communication. Helps manage feelings of tension, anxiety, supports our microbiome, helps to control appetite, reduce feelings of hunger. It also helps to give us more antioxidants, and it's totally unflavored. And so you can add it into anything. You can put it into your smoothie, you can put it into marinara sauce, you can put it into soups, you can put it into protein balls, you can put it into anything. And so if you are sitting back and going like, oh, I think I might be addicted to sugar, it's time to take control. And so anybody who is on my team or signs up between now and the end of the year gets access to a cleanse, a 21-day cleanse that we're doing starting in January, where we will be using the GBX food system. That is the combination of these 3 products. And I went ahead and created you a cart that has Happy Juice and these 3 products in there. If you would like to, you can also bundle it up with Sleep Plus. That is the other supplement that we discussed today. And so that is a really big crash course in how you can overcome sugar cravings. And if you want to watch this video or share it with a friend in the future, all you have to do is come to my YouTube channel and this class will be posted there. So thank you everyone for showing up today, and I hope that you found this informative. We will be live again, not next week, but the week after, on that would be October the 20th. And we will be talking about how hopeful it is that our brain can change itself. And we're going to be talking all about the science behind neuroplasticity. Save the date, invite a friend. The link to tune in live is always learnamare.com/science call. And the meetings are typically every Thursday at 1 p.m. Central Time, unless we have a major event like we happen to next week. So I am over and out. My name is Dr. Lindsey Elmore. If I invited you to this class today, go ahead, click that link, get checked out. If you are watching the replay, do look in the notes and the link will be there as well. Over and out, everybody. Goodbye.